जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जगदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर परमानंदे जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवीराचार्य स्तोत्र सदा हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय ओम इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य VVT फाउंडर आचार्य सेवर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड शील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवीराचार्य नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य शिलाजीदास ठाकुर की सतगोस्वामी प्रभु की प्रेम च हो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिना श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की वृंदावन नवदीप धाम की मधुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की द्वारका धाम की गंगामय यमुनामय की भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की समवेद भक्त वृंद की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की ट्रांसेंडेंटल शिला प्रभुपाद बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की श्री श्री राधा माधव हरि की श्रीनाथ जी गोपाल की निताय भगवान की संबल वैष्णव जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर परमानंदे all glorious assembled devotees all glorious assembled devotees all glorious assembled devotees all glorious Sister Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please come forward. Come forward. Let come out the tongue speak and die.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladadayine.
Praladadayine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha.
Yato
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, welcome to Shishi Radha Madhavari Dham. On behalf of our presiding deities, Shishi Radha Madhavari and Srila Prabhupada, we welcome you all to the Sunday Feast evening program. Thank you all for being here. We understand that there's a big festival happening right now with the BHO, I guess the Kite Festival. Anyway, but I'm very happy that you all are here. Today's Sunday Feast is going to be presented by our own, His Grace Ananda Vrindavan Das. Prabhu is actually disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Sundar Goswami Maharaj. And I've been practicing Krishna consciousness for some time. He is actually very active. I think he started off his journey with the Hindi class as being the teacher here, coming to the temple, associating with all the devotees, and then slowly took up Krishna consciousness, received initiation, and is very active in our congregation right now. He is also active in the community also with various services. So here he does like pretty much every Sunday you will see him for Mangal Arati. And he leads also Guru Ashtakam so beautifully. And the other things is he is very active participant in our morning sadhana program. He does as a part of the book reading and also Srimad Bhagavatam verses and all of it. And even with any of the programs and festivals and everything, Prabhu is very active and very engaged. And we really appreciate being a family, being a busy person with his own business, handling all of that, but still he's able to really serve Shishi Radha Madhavari Dham and all the devotees so nicely. So it's very much a pleasure to hear from him. Today's topic is going to be chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. So let's hear from Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know, as Mataji said, there is another festival going on, but that's okay. We'll take whatever attendance we have and try to make most of this time. So before we start, let's start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpite Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we'll start with Radha Madhav prayers. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana
Nandana Braj Jana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Okay. Let's see. Does it need a power cord? Probably here. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So again, welcome everyone. As Mataji mentioned, we are going to talk about chapter 2. Last week, Harihara Narayan Prabhu talked about chapter 1, which is known as Arjuna Vishad Yoga, Arjuna's lamentation. So what we learned in chapter 1 is Arjuna asked Lord Krishna to take the chariot in the middle of the battlefield, and he inspects the battlefield, and then at the end of chapter 1, Arjuna refuses to fight, right? He says, I'm not going to fight this war, and he gives his various reasons. So chapter 2 continues on that. So these verses 1 to 10 are still Arjun trying to explain the reasons why he doesn't want to fight. And then in the subsequent verses, we will see how Lord Krishna tries to convince him. So let's start this by an image. As you can see, this person is an intersection. So same way, we are also presented many times in the life with an intersection where we don't know which way we need to go, left, right, we are confused. And this is similar situation of Arjuna. So let's repeat after me. We will go verse by verse. We'll try to cover as many verses we can do. So in the first verse, 2.1, Sanjaya Vacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashrum Purna Kulekshanam Vishidan Im Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana. So Sanjaya said, Seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. So, as I mentioned, that Arjuna is really morose. He has decided he's not gonna fight. He held his head in his hands and lowered his head, and he's saying that I'm not gonna fight, right? So, the second chapter is also known as Sankhya Yoga. So, Sankhya Yoga means it discusses the concepts and analysis of existence of various elements, specifically to matter and spirit. That is, matter is our living body and spirit is the soul. So, this is what this chapter is about. Now, moving on to second verse. So, we can see Arjuna is lamenting. Now, let's try to find out what are the reasons for his lamentation. One is material compassion. So, one reason Arjuna gives is that in this battlefield I have my relatives, my teachers. How can I fight against them? So, this is the compassion. He is giving the reason. And then he is showing lamentation and tears. So, what is the reason for this? It's the signs of ignorance of real self. This is why Arjuna is showing these. Now the question is, if this is the sign of ignorance, then what is the real intelligence, right? He is showing compassion, but he is showing for the wrong things. So what is the right way of showing compassion? Right way of showing compassion is by cultivating self-realization, right? And then the charity begins at home, right? So first you have to show compassion for yourself. And how you show compassion for yourself? By self-realization. For example, chanting, kirtan, all these activities, you are showing compassion for yourself. In other words, first you are trying to improve your situation before trying to help other person, right? So the real compassion is when you try to understand your real identity, right? Lot of people become sad seeing others. It's, if others are in difficulty or they are facing a problem, it's a good thing, right? It's not a bad thing. We should have compassion. But we should also try to understand what is the reason for this. Like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, I took a lot of notes from his lectures. He talks about when he started his spiritual journey as a seeker, he just believed like doing social work or charity, right? Helping poor people, helping poor kids and all those. But what he found, he used to go to slums in Mumbai and help kids, help families. But what he found is the same problems happen again and again. So for example, the husband, he will get drunk or he'll beat his wife and children. So for few days he will not do, and few days everything will be same. But then after few days, this thing will repeat itself. So what he realized that while he's trying to help them by giving some money or some charity or some books, he's not able to solve the fundamental problem. So that's the thing. So how we can solve the fundamental problem? By self-realization, right? That who am I? What am I doing here? What is my relationship with God? What is my real identity? So we will talk about identities in the following verses, how we can understand our real identity. But here, let's just assume that it's understanding body and soul, and then we will go further in those identities. Now, emotions, right? So we saw here that Arjuna is showing a lot of emotions. He has tears in his eyes and everything. So the more we are emotional, right, the less emotions we have, because we are pouring out all the emotions, right? Sometimes people get angry and they get so angry that they don't even know what they are doing, right? And we can see that then the emotions control us and drive us. So same way Arjuna is showing a lot of emotions, but then he is forgetting his real duty, his real purpose, right? And it's his emotions that are driving his actions. Now, one may argue, then why do we need emotions? right? Lot of time people say, if anger is such a bad thing, then why does even anger exist? Anger should not be there as an emotion, right? Well, emotions are valuable, right? But they are not the only thing that is important. There is intelligence also that is important, that is needed along with emotions. So Arjuna is breaking down because of overwhelming emotions, right? So my uncle, he used to be public prosecutor back in India, and he told me that 90% of the criminals, this is what their reaction is after the crime is committed and they are arrested. They say it was just that one moment of emotions, we could not control our emotion for that one moment and we committed this crime. Almost 90% of them regret it, maybe 10% they do not, but 90% regret it, and it is that lack of control of emotions. So we need emotions. Emotions are very important part of us. We are all emotional beings, otherwise we will be robots. But we need to understand that we have to have control over emotions. We can't have uncontrolled emotions, and that's what we are seeing here. Now in the second verse, Krishna speaks. Please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kutastva Kashalamidam Vishame Samapusthitam Anarya Jushtam Aswargam Akirti Karam Arjuna. So Krishna is saying, Kutastva Kshamalam Idam. From where this impurity has come, right? So Krishna is not saying that you are a coward, how come you are not able to fight? Krishna is saying in a very subtle way, right? So for example, there may be somebody who's very calm always, and suddenly they get very angry, so your first reaction will be, what happened to you? You are not like this. You are always very calm, why are you showing this anger, or any other thing, right? So Krishna is saying, from where this impurity has come. You are known to be a great fighter, everybody knows about your heroics, what you have done, and now at the most important juncture of your life, where you have to fight this most important battle, you are showing this weakness. So he's saying from where this weakness has come, because Arjun's behavior is out of character, right? And it's not his true nature. So then Krishna goes on to explain that Anarya. So Anarya means this action doesn't befit you, right? And Anarya Jushtam Aswargam, that means this will lead you to, Aswargam means not heaven, means it will not take you to a good destination. Not only here, you will, this is going to hurt you, also your destination will not be good. So that's what Krishna is explaining to him. Okay. Now let's try to understand how this whole thing happened, right? How Arjun got the weakness, the indecisiveness, the fearfulness, right? And of course the tearfulness that we see. So the thing is, our life is meant to be lived by spiritual values, right? And what happens is, we are so engrossed in our material life, our day-to-day life, that we forget about our real identity, and we start attaching with things, right? So for example, let's take an example of a young boy and girl, right? They may not know each other from before, and they suddenly meet and they start liking each other and something, and then there is a fight happens, and you may have heard this, they say, okay, I'll end my life or whatever, I don't want to live. And you wonder, you recently you didn't even know each other, right? What happened, suddenly how this person became so important that you are saying I'll end my life and all that, things like that. So what is happening is, all this is coming because they are not understanding their true identity, right? They are just being emotional and acting on these material concepts. So the real identity is the spiritual identity. That's what we are doing. So here it talks about how spiritual values guide us towards this realization. The realization of understanding yourself, who you are. So there is sadhana that we all do. So you may know the people who have taken initiation or the aspiring devotees, they chant. Then there is a swadhyay, study of scriptures. They read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and satsanga, right? They do association with other devotees. So all these practices help us understand, what is our real identity? How do we connect to the Supreme Lord, right? So by giving due importance to these spiritual disciplines, we cultivate a deeper meaning of life's spiritual essence. And that is the reason a lot of people are not able to understand. I have seen many people come to temple and they think these people are very emotional. I mean, not sure why they are so much into this. What's the need of it? Like, people take spirituality like as a kind of hobby or as just a side thing, right? Like, you have to do other things, and then you can come once in a while to temple and just say pranam and offer some money, and then that's it. They don't realize that this is the most important thing. They think they can do everything else and then come to temple or go to some spiritual thing once in a while, and that's good enough. But the problem is, unless you are serious about like the things listed here, unless you bring them into your day-to-day life, you are not going to make progress, right? Okay, moving on. And then we see what is happening with Arjuna is he's going through this tension, right? He's torn between two dharmas. His first dharma is Kula dharma, the duty towards family. He's saying, how can I be the cause of destruction of my own dynasty, right? He's seeing Bhishma Pitama there. He's seeing all his cousins, siblings, everybody, and he's saying, no, I don't want to do it, no matter what I get in the return. The other thing is his Kshatriya dharma, his warrior dharma, right? Warrior duties, where he is the martial guardian of the society. So he must punish the wrongdoers. We all know that Kauravas did a lot of bad things. They tried to hurt Pandavas many times. They did gambling. They, disrespected Draupadi, and they tried to kill Pandavas. So many things, and ultimately they didn't want to give even 5 villages that Pandavas asked. The last proposal that Krishna came with was just give 5 villages and let's end this fight. But they didn't want to give. So obviously Kauravas were on the wrong side. But still, so that is Arjuna's Kshatriya dharma, to punish the wrongdoers. So he's torn between these two. So for example, and this happens in real life also, I'm sure you have seen. So for example, let's say there is a judge and he's presiding over a case where his son is brought to trial, right? His son has committed something, some crime. Now, what the judge will do, it depends on what he identifies with more, right? Does he identify himself more as a judge or more as a father, right? So depending on that, he will do the thing. And we also face such dilemmas in our life many times, right? Where we are torn between two duties and we try to balance both the duties. Okay. Now, let's talk about this identity thing. I have spoken about it so many times. So, what we should do is determined by who we are, right? Try to process this. What we should do is determined by who we are. Now, there are 2 types of identities. One is functional identity. So, functional identity is by the function that I do. For example, I'm a male, I'm a female, I'm Indian, American, or I may have a job, right? Software engineer or whatever. I may be mother, father. So many functional identities we have. Now, we have to understand these functional identities change with time. So, for example, those who are parents right now, they were not parents like 20 years ago or something like that. Like I was not a parent 20 years ago. I was not married, let's say, 25 years ago, So I may be married now, but I was not. So I was single. Then my identity changed to married. Then I became a father. So these identities change, right? Even we see a lot of stuff going on where people want to change their, sexual preference. Somebody male is trying to become female and whatnot. All that stuff is also going on. So even that identity people are ready to change. So, but we can't attach ourselves to these identities. We can't take these identities very seriously because they change inevitably, right? So there was a story of a cricketer from India. He migrated to Canada and to play cricket, and he made it to Canadian national team, and then he got an injury, and that ended his career. So think about it. All his life he worked to become this cricketer, and when he reached to his ultimate goal, one injury ended his identity, right, that he had created for himself. Then he was in so much depression, he did not know what to do, and he had to seek spiritual guidance to come out of that depression. And then he was able to find another career, and he's okay now, but you can see that these functional identities keep changing. Either you will change it or circumstances will change. And then if you are too attached to it, you are going to get depressed. You are going to get morose, like I don't know anything else. This is my identity. We have also seen with parents, especially mothers, when they are too attached to their kids and the kid goes to college or something, and then, mothers are lost. And rightly so, because they are so attached to their child. Everything in their life revolves around doing things for that child, and suddenly that child is gone. And they are really sad, right? So then let's talk about fundamental identity. So what is our fundamental identity? So that is at spiritual level. That's what we were talking about before, right? That we have to understand who we are. So when this question comes, who am I? This is called Aham Brahmasmi, right? There is a very famous, this quote in our scriptures, Aham Brahmasmi, right? That I am this spirit soul, right? And when you understand yourself as a soul, that is your fundamental identity, your growth in knowledge begins. Without that, you are just shuttling from one functional identity to another identity, and you are confused, because in your day-to-day, how many different identities you are wearing? You are a parent, you are a husband or wife, and then you go to office, you have a job, you have a title, then, you have friends. So you are just between these identities, and there is some tension will happen somewhere or some problem will happen somewhere, and you are always shuttling between these identities, leaving you with no time to learn about your fundamental identity, right? And in order to learn about your fundamental identity, that's the spiritual process. That's why we all are here. That's what we do in temple. Okay, moving on. So, in the third verse, Krishna says that, O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. So, here it says, this klebyam, the first word, it means weakness. But it's not just another ordinary weakness. It signifies impotence or unmanliness, right? So for a Kshatriya, being called, for a warrior or for a fighter, being called unmanly is amongst the strongest reproach that can happen to their honor, right? So Krishna is saying, same thing like he said in the last verse, where has this contamination come from? And now he's saying that this weakness is not, this is like impotence, So, you need to do something, right? So, for example, if someone comes to our house, someone, enters our house and start overpowering us or forcing us, and if we do not want to do anything, we do not want to fight them, we do not want to stand against them, then that is impotence, right? So Krishna is saying, oh Arjuna, do not give in to this degrading impotence, right? Which will make you behave in a dishonorable way, right? So he's saying you have to behave in a way that is according to your honor. And then he's saying that this hriday daurbalyam, right, this weakness of heart, right, you have to give up, right, give up this weakness of heart. And he's using a word, last word is parantapa, right? So parantapa meaning you are a chastiser of enemy, right? So parantapa means one who gives tapa, that is pain or torment, to para. Para means others. So parantapa means one who gives pain to others. So Arjuna is celebrated by the name because he has punished his life, all these miscreants and people who cause trouble. So he is addressing him by that name, that hey Arjun, rise and fight. So when we in our life we overcome by weakness, we can meditate on this verse and see what is Krishna's message, what was Krishna's message to Arjuna, right? And we can try to overcome that weakness. So that's what this verse says. Moving on, in the 4th verse, Arjuna says that how can I counter attack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? So now Arjuna is reasoning. In the first chapter, he did not provide all these reasons. Now he is providing these reasons, right? That he's saying I'm not succumbing to weakness. This is against the dharma. This is against religious principles, right? The people who I worship, you are telling me to fight with them, right? So because Krishna said you are showing weakness, hriday daurbalyam in previous verse, so he's saying, no, this is not weakness. My reluctance is not due to some sentimental reason, that I am sentimental or I'm afraid, nothing like that. He's saying my reluctance is from a rightful, natural position, that how can I attack, Bhishma, Pitama and Drona, right? These people are worshipable to me. So he's trying to counter Krishna's claim that, you are showing weakness of heart by saying, no, I'm not showing weakness of heart. These people are worthy of my, worship. I'm not gonna, fight with them. Then he says, it is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great souls who are my teachers. Right? So now he is giving more reasons. So this is deliberation, right? A discussion. So lot of times the word deliberation has a negative connotation, right? People think, it comes from word deliberate, when you do something deliberately. But deliberation doesn't always have negative connotation, For example, here, this deliberation is actually a discussion that is happening between them. So Arjuna is reasoning that I don't want the kingdom, I want to respect my elders. And he's saying respecting the elders is a higher value than just seeking the kingdom. So this is Arjuna's reasoning, right? And he's saying, I am ready to live as a beggar than to, kill these great souls. But Arjuna is saying respecting elders is a value that he wants to honor. But there is even a higher value. Right? There is a deeper value, and that is establishing dharma. No doubt, Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama, they were great souls, but in the battle of Kurukshetra, they are on the wrong side. They have taken the side of adharma. So the whole battle of Mahabharata happened to establish dharma, right? That's why Krishna was on Arjuna's side. So he said that you want to respect them, that's okay, that's a good value, but there is a higher value, there is a deeper value, that is to establish dharma. And we have to act accordingly, So if the cost is you have to kill your loved ones, right, to establish dharma, then you have to pay that cost. That's what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is guiding Arjuna to a deeper understanding of his identity. If Arjuna views himself just as a mere prince, right, and he identifies himself as a Kuru descendant, and he sees his opponents as the members of same dynasty, that's why he's feeling that what is the point of fighting against my loved ones? But Krishna is taking this further. He's revealing a deeper truth, that you are a soul. Your fundamental identity is you are an eternal soul. And we will learn more about them in the subsequent verses. But Krishna is telling him that you are a soul and you have to act in harmony with my will, right? So Krishna brought all the people, all the kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra because he wanted to use as a means of killing the bad ones, as, adharma, the people who are following adharma. So he's saying you have to harmonize with my will because you are a soul and I am super soul. So now, if you harmonize with my will, then that will be beneficial to you, right? So everyone has a role to play, right? We all have a role to play in our lives. So a lot of time people ask that, I go to job or I take care of my family. How can I be, spiritual while doing that? So nobody stops you from going to job or doing anything that you are doing. In fact, we can see here, Arjuna he's a fighter, right? Krishna is asking him that, you have to do your duty, even if that means killing people. So even killing people is a duty. So you can continue to do whatever you do, but you have to harmonize your will with Krishna's will, right? That's the whole point about it. What happens is when we start looking at our jobs or whatever duties we do as a means of our enjoyment, then that's when the problem happens. So for example, if we are raising children and we have intention that, when they grow up and they get into a good job, they are going to take care of me, then that's a problem, right? We have to do it as a duty and we have to raise them in the right way. They are not they are not basically our future investment. It's that simple. Same way, the money we earn from job, if we only go to job with the intention, next year when I get the bonus, I'm going to Hawaii, And then what happens? The bonus doesn't come as much as you wanted and you're disappointed, right? Of course, you can go to Hawaii, that's not a problem, but you should look at job as a tool to, whatever money you earn, some part of it, rightful part of it, you can give in spiritual life, or you should have a job where you are able to spend enough time in your spiritual life, right? So you can't be greedy, you can't go to do a job. Like we know some companies, you have to work much more than 40 hours, 60, 70, 80 hours. Of course, you get paid more. But then that's greed, right? You will be left with no time for your spiritual life. So this is called harmonizing your actions with the will of Supreme. So when you harmonize them, your day-to-day life, everything becomes spiritual. So for example, you cook food. Everybody cooks food, right? We all eat 3 times a day at least, maybe 2 times a day. So we can offer the same thing to Krishna and then that becomes prasadam, right? Very simple principle, right? It doesn't take much time. It takes 5 minutes to just offer Krishna the bhoga. Then that becomes prasadam. Then we can eat with our food. So it's nothing special, right? It's a simple thing. So Krishna is saying you harmonize your will with my will. This is a very important verse. So after hearing Krishna's arguments, Arjuna is finally ready to surrender. And what Arjuna says, please repeat after me. Karpanya dosho prahata swabhava. Prichhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Yachreham syan nishchittam bruhi tanme. Shishyaste aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. So Arjuna is saying, now I am confused about my duty. So Arjuna gave some arguments and Krishna gave counter arguments. So now he's saying, I am confused about my duty and I have lost all composure because of my miserly weakness. So Karpanya doshe means miserly weakness. And he's saying, in this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. And he is surrendering himself to Krishna, right? He is saying before he treated Krishna as his friend. Krishna was also his cousin, but he treated Krishna as a friend. He had friendly exchanges with Krishna. Now he's saying, I am ready to surrender to you and I am ready to become your disciple. And please guide me. So, this is very important, right? This shows that before we can learn anything or make any progress, we should have the humility to accept that we don't know something, right? This we hear from a lot of sports coaches also, right? Like sometimes you take your children to some coach, tennis coach or basketball coach, and unless they have the humility that they don't know this thing enough and they want to learn from them, they are not going to learn, right? So I heard something very nice, somewhere, that in order to receive something, you have to have an empty jar, empty bowl. If you go with a bowl full, then how will you receive something? So same way, in order to learn something, you should go with humility and with an open heart, open mind, that I want to learn from you. So that's what Arjuna is doing here. And he's admitting that I have karpanya dosh, I have this miserly weakness, and now please guide me. Okay. So, this brings to this whole intelligence process. How does our intelligence works? So, we have this intelligence which guides us. Every situation we have to make a decision, right? So, for example, I know something, let's say, I have to go to my home after this program. I know the way. I'll sit in my car and I'll just do this. My brain tells me, take this right turn, that left turn, and I reach. But sometimes I have to use it to resolve indecision. So for example, there may be a road closure on the way, and then I have to decide, okay, what do I want to do now? Which detour I have to take? Or if I take this detour, will I see more traffic and all? So that's where we make the decision, right? So intelligence is used for making decisions and also resolving indecision. Now to resolve indecision, we have to consult the source. So for example, if I hit a road block, then I will use Google. I don't know the way, so I will put it in my map, even though I know where my home is. Because the road is closed, now I need to see a new way. So I'll put in the Google and say, help me. Now, what happens sometimes, I don't use that Google, right? I'll tell, I know how to go. And then I'll take a road. And then only to find out when I go further, this is also blocked. Maybe there is big construction going on. So like that we do for a little bit. And then we realize, no, I need to take help from Google or whatever source. So sometimes we overestimate our intelligence, right? So overestimating intelligence means we know things. We think that we know what we don't know, right? This is a false confidence. This can lead to decisions that are not productive and harmful also. So for example, if I use my brain and I take a road and go and somewhere, who knows, that path may not be safe. That's why they close the road. So sometimes, we see people, our friends, they will guide, what happened to you? You have cold and cough. Just take whatever, some antibiotic, And it's like, really, especially in Indians, we see that trend a lot, where everybody carries some antibiotics or some medicines that they bring. But it's very dangerous, One time I had a similar need, and Sri Govind Prabhu is not here. So somebody advised me, you just take that antibiotic, but I was not sure. So I called him, and he told me, no, don't take that, So it's dangerous, right? When we start becoming doctors ourselves, or, start treating ourselves. We need to go to the qualified person. So intelligence means, like I said, the humility to recognize what we don't know, and the maturity to acknowledge that knowledge in some areas, I have to go to expert. I have to have that maturity that for this problem, if I have a dental problem, I have to go to a dentist. I'm not going to be able to treat myself. Now, there is another way. There is the opposite of it. So we talked about overestimating our intelligence. Sometimes we underestimate our intelligence, right? So we assume that because we don't know something, we cannot learn, right? And this leads to inaction and lot of missed opportunities. So people who are in technology, I'm sure many of you work in technology, how fast this world is changing right now. AI is coming and everything. So we are constantly having to learn something new, right? But if we think, oh, I can't learn this is very hard, and then we are not going to progress, right? We are not going to have a job. So kids are a great example, right? Like young children, you see, every year they are learning some new thing, or they go do some new activity, because their mind is so curious, and they do not have these assumptions. They are very pure, very simple, so they just approach everything. So in order to progress in life, we have to have that same curiosity, that kid-like curiosity throughout our life, and then we can keep learning and not. But if there is a term for it, it's called growth mindset, right? Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So fixed mindset means, oh, I have just this intelligence and I can do just this much and I cannot learn. But growth mindset means we can learn a lot. We can learn all life. I mean, Mataji is a great example, at this advanced age, her work ethic is exemplary, and the kind of things she does is exemplary, and how sharp she is, So nobody says that, after this age you can't learn something or you can't take responsibilities. Okay, so what is balanced intelligence? We talked about overestimating intelligence, we talked about underestimating intelligence. So what is balanced intelligence? Balanced intelligence is the ability to differentiate between what we know, what we don't know but we can learn, and then last thing is what we don't know and cannot know, right? So Arjuna has turned to Krishna for guidance. Similarly, we can also rely on experts, like I mentioned, and we have to differentiate between these things. So for example, sometimes people say, like they go to some guru or some sages and they ask them, oh, do you know future? Or some people claim, they are Trikaldarshi, they know past, present, future. So this is an example of something like we don't know and probably we can't know. Like same thing with your previous lives. Some people have memories of their previous lifetime, but most of us don't have it. So there is no need, right? So we should just accept it as something we don't know, and we cannot know, and there is no need to know. Why worry about, already people feel so depressed or tired with the memories of this life. Why you want to go and get memories from previous lifetimes and, even have more trauma for yourself? So there is a reason why we don't remember our past lifetimes. You find it funny? Okay. All right. So fulfillment in achievement, right? So Arjun is saying that I can find no means to drive away this grief. Arjun is still, he's saying, I cannot drive away this grief. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win this kingdom, right? So Arjun is now giving a different argument. He's saying that I have grief in my heart, and let's say I win in this war, and I get all the kingdom, still it won't be enough for this grief to go away. So what he's saying this material comfort or material opulence will not give me happiness, which is true. Because, we see, is material comfort the purpose of life, right? We see modern life, everybody is just trying to accumulate more and more things. And the fundamental assumption behind that is, if I get more things, I'll be happy, right? But that's not the case. We are seeing, right, like Western countries, which are, very advanced and they have all kinds of opulences. But we find that all the cases of depressions and, all the drug use and all is highest in Western countries, right? Whereas if you go to poor countries, you won't find that much depression and all, even though people are poor and they don't have so many gadgets and so many good cars and everything, right? So that proves that material comfort cannot compensate for your real need, right? So for example, if I'm very thirsty and I come looking for water and somebody offers me, let's say, gulab jamun, a sweet, please eat it. I may like the sweet very much, but at that moment I need water, right? So substituting water with gulab jamun is not going to make me happy, right? So our purpose in life is not to just live a comfortable life. Unfortunately, most people are living with this assumption. If I have just a little bit more money, if I can get just that one promotion, if my son can get to this Ivy League college, then that's it. Life is perfect, and so on and so forth, right? So the truth is that our eternal fulfillment is only going to be when we connect to Krishna, when we connect to God, and we progress in our spiritual life. And we saw earlier that how we progress, we have to have sadhana, we have to have the sadhu sangha, and so many things were mentioned there, right? So this is how we do it. So Arjuna is right in this, but what Arjuna is wrong about, this is not the war is happening so that he can get kingdom. There is a bigger purpose for this war. So, decision of inaction. So finally, Arjuna says that I shall not fight, and he fell silent. So Arjuna is saying he is no longer ready to follow this path and these expectations, right? That he is a Kshatriya, he needs to fight and he needs to do the right thing. He is saying, I am seeking more clarity and purpose. Just so even it happens with us, right? Our family expects us to study well and then get a good job and then, get married and have children. Like I'm talking about myself. I'm sure many of you have same story. So he's saying, no, I will not follow this stereotypical life path. I want to know a deeper meaning. I need a clarity and purpose. Why I'm doing this, right? So that's where he's asking, what is dharma? What is the right thing to do? What is the purpose of life, right? Without understanding these things, he's saying, I will not take any action, right? So he's asking Krishna, please explain to me, what is the right action? What is dharma, right? And until you speak and illuminate to me, I am not going to fight, he is saying. So he's showing eagerness, and also he's showing his inability, that until and unless you explain to me these things, I will not fight, right? So what happens next? So, Krishna, what does he say? Tamuvacha Hrishikesha Prahasanneva Bharata Senayorubhayor Madhye Vishidantam Idam Vachaha. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So this is the last verse we'll cover. But here one thing stood out to me, that Krishna was smiling, right? So imagine this scene in the battlefield where Arjuna is, we saw in the previous verses, he had tears in his eyes, he was crying, he's saying, I can't do anything, he's morose. And in the 10th verse, we see that Krishna smiled. So it sounds almost cruel, right? If somebody is crying and they are, confused and lost, and you are smiling, like, what is that, right? So Krishna is not smiling because he is happy to see Arjun in that state. Actually, it's the contrary. Krishna wants to get Arjun out of that state. Krishna is smiling because he realizes that finally a friend has chosen to become a disciple. So, Krishna is always happy when it is said if we make one step to Krishna, he makes 10 steps to us, right? He is so eager. He is so eager to meet with us. He is so eager to do all the pastimes with us. He is like a father, waiting for us to come back. Like, our parents wait for us. When we go home, I'm sure you have older parents like I do, they become so happy. They become so happy. I call my mother, and even before I can say pranam to her, my mother says, Khush raho. Khush raho. She is giving me blessings before I am even offering pranam to her. So your parents they can't even wait for you to offer. So same Krishna is not counting, how many people here offered full obeisances. Oh, I know you did not offer, I saw you. No. You came here, he is very happy. You are listening to this, he is very happy. You can offer obeisances, that's great. Even if you don't offer, that's fine. Krishna will still love you. But he will reciprocate according to how much we do, right? So, it's like, there was one nursery rhyme I remember my daughter used to hear it. It's like, the more we are together, the more we are together, the happier we'll be. So, same way, Krishna is saying, the more we are together, the more time you spend with me, we'll be happier. You will be happier, I'll be happier, right? You will love me more, I'll love you more, right? It's not like you come once a month or once a year. Like we saw New Year's Day, I could not recognize my own temple. I came here and there were so many new faces. I was thinking, did I come to a different place? What happened here? But I was glad to see. But it's like, guys, come more often, don't just come on first. And it's like, done, one check mark done. First, we went to temple. Now see you next year on first. That should not be there, right? We have to come more often. We have to spend more time, right? And then we will. So same way, Arjuna has assumed the role of a devotee and he has surrendered himself. He is ready to learn from him. So Krishna is very happy. So sometimes, right, when we see wise people or people who are senior to us, they react to a situation in a way that we may not like, right? So we should not think that they are disrespecting us or they are whatever, we should know that they are thinking of something, some broader implications of this. They are not looking at this situation, right? So for example, a kid may struggle in his exams. The father is like, okay, that's fine, keep struggling because this will make you strong, right? He's not going to jump to help him. No, that's fine. You may get a bad grade now, but you will learn a lesson and you will improve. So, same way Krishna is saying, he's smiling not because at his problems, he's smiling that you have surrendered and you are ready to more progress. So when we see a senior person or a wise person reacting in a way which is not what we wanted, we should realize that they have a bigger plan in mind, right? That's what this verse is saying. So to summarize, what happened here in the 10 verses? So, before Arjuna was a friend and after he became a student. Before they were in the battlefield, now the battlefield became a classroom. He was supposed to throw the physical arrows were supposed to be discharged. Now the verbal arrows in the form of words of wisdom are coming, right? So this is what now the Bhagavad Gita is about to be spoken, where Krishna will dispel all these doubts and illusions from the mind of Arjuna and give him a clarity of thought, a sense of purpose, and that's when Arjuna will get in action. So that we will see in the following verses. With this, I would like to end. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, please. Oh, thank you. Okay. I know you guys are tired. We had a festival. Oh, Prabhu, you have a question. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the class. I think in one of the verses where Arjuna says, like, I want to become your disciple.
Yes. 7th verse, yeah.
Yeah. What's the difference between this one and little off the chapter 18.66?
Sarvadharman Parityajam.
So what is the difference between both the aspects where Krishna says, please become my disciple?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wonderful question, Prabhu. So, this is where Arjuna is expressing a desire that, because I'm confused about my duty and I can't think straight, so I want to become your disciple. In the verse you are saying Sarvadharman Parityajam, right? That's one, yeah. So that verse, Krishna is saying that abandon all varieties of religion, right? So for example, see, it's very applicable to us. So we are like a girl who wants to dance with everyone, right? So we want to watch movies also. We want to play cricket also. I'm talking about myself, not about you guys, And I want to, party also sometimes. And I want to be spiritual also, right? And even worse, even within spirituality, I want to follow this path also, that path also. I want to follow Advaitvad also, Dvaitvad also, and this puja also, that puja. No. So that's where Krishna is saying, Sarv dharman parityajam mam ekam sharanam vraja. Just come to me, come to my shelter, and I will take care of all the sins in your life. So what Krishna is saying, that single-minded focus you should have in me. Abandon all varieties of religion, all the different paths, that you think important. So that is very clear instruction Krishna is giving. One of the gurus I know, he told me, and he's not from ISKCON, he told me that why no one else, no Devata, nobody else has made this statement. Why only Krishna has made this statement that Sarv dharman parityajam mam ekam sharanam vraja? Because only Krishna has the authority to make that statement. Nobody else will make this statement. Yes, Prabhu, you are saying something.
So here, after this verse, Krishna says, like, you should fight and gives multiple reasons. There he says, like, completely surrender to me,
right.
Nothing else. So
yes.
There is a change of duty there. So,
yeah.
How do I understand?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned during my lecture, that's fine. You can still surrender to him, and still you can be the best killer that is out there. So for a Kshatriya to get very angry and charge at the enemy and put the knife in their heart, that is their puja. What Divesham Prabhu is doing here, for a Kshatriya, that is their puja. When they put the knife through their heart and the knife is laced with, cyanide. That's it. That's their perfection, So a Kshatriya has to have that anger. Kshatriya has to have that attitude. They have to have that vengeance, And doesn't matter if they are not chanting there, doesn't matter if they are not bathing anywhere, if they are on the battlefield, on the border or wherever, and if you are in place, Siachen, India, India has a lot of people posted in Siachen Glacier, that's world's highest peak. So you can bath there every day, and that's fine. Krishna is fine with that, as long as you're doing your duty properly. A doctor who's saving lives, right? And whatever it takes, for him, that's fine. So Krishna is saying surrender to me means, offer all your activities to me. Krishna is not saying that, only offer your chanting to me and this and that. No. You offer everything to me, each and every action. Harmonize it with me. Do, like if you are a doctor, do the service as a bhakti, That everybody has a Paramatma in their heart. I am serving Krishna through these patients, And this is my puja, this is my bhakti. If you are a teacher, you do your job honestly. You teach the kids honestly. That's your bhakti. So, surrender doesn't mean, you become pujari and, you leave everything and you chant and that's the only surrender. Surrender means where you harmonize all your actions with Krishna's desire, you know, and you act in an honest way, you act in a, spiritual way, then that's surrender, Prabhu. It's not just like one thing is a surrender. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. So, you mentioned also the harmonizing with Krishna as well. So, that's something I always think about, and especially as you also mentioned before, that we are torn between material duties and spiritual duties.
Yeah.
And it's hard to make a decision at that point. What is the priority now? And that's when I think harmonizing with Krishna as well will help. But how do we know what is Krishna as well? That's always a challenge in my mind. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, great question, Prabhu. So, first of all, any ilk of selfishness should not be there, right? So, any action we are doing, it should not be driven from the desire of, okay, what is my benefit in this, right? So, that can be one test. There are different tests you have to put. Like I said, first of all, you should be honest, transparent, sincere in everything you do, right? So, like we see a lot of people, they will do, like, we see work from home, they are also doing investing or something on the side, so that's cheating, you can't do that, right? So, when you are taking money from somebody for working 8 hours a day, then you have to work. Now, in your free time, you can do investing or second job or third job, whatever you want. So, I would say being honest in your things, lack of self-interest, compassion for other people, right? That it should be beneficial for others, whatever you do. Not trying to harm anybody, not trying to hurt anybody, not trying to cheat. I think if you just follow these guiding principles, and Paramatma in your heart will tell you that you are doing the right thing or not. Mostly if you listen to them, they will tell you. So when you do things without pressure or without any greed, honestly and sincerely, I think probably that's an attempt. I don't know the perfect answer to this. Yeah.
So thinking now that aligning with Krishna as well is also remembering his instructions. I mean, he has mentioned that material is dukkhalema shashvatam.
Yeah.
There will be miseries. So we cannot just get bogged down because of that and consult Guru, Sadhu, Shastra and then move on.
Yeah. Yeah, I visited Mohan Chaitanya Prabhu in hospital. When you were in the hospital, I remember, and he was not talking about all the pain he had. He was preaching me there also. And he just said that, I deserve more, but Krishna gave me less, because this is Krishna's mercy. And he didn't talk about his problems. He was preaching me more and more. So, even in the hospital, he's thinking how he can benefit me, So, that's the way. I remember that, Prabhu. Yeah. All right. I think we're done. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
I think that was a very, very nice class. A big round of applause for Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu. I knew he would give a good class. I didn't miss a minute. The minute you started, I was listening to you on my way here. So we were at Tumbleweed Park with a festival. That's why you see a smaller crowd here today, because all the devotees are over at the park, and some of us came back early. But wonderful class, and thank you so much. You made it really nice and easy to understand the first 10 verses of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. Very nice. Thank you so much. You have to give more classes. So, Prabhu also has started to give, make the announcements. But since he's already done such a lot of talking, I will do the announcements today. So we had one sponsor today, and Manju Walia, she was just here. She was late for an appointment, but please give her a big round of applause for sponsoring today's feast. She is sponsoring her son-in-law Deepak's birthday. He loves celebrations, so that's what she's doing. And Mataji has been very supportive of the temple for many years. She also, she's the editor of, what is it called? Asia Today. Asia Today newspaper. And I'm very grateful to her for her support of the temple. We are going to catch up with her tomorrow and give her Mahaprasad. She's going to stop by in the morning for that. So upcoming events, we have Ekadashi coming Saturday, 25th of January. So those of you who follow Ekadashi, we refrain from eating beans and grains. So that is this coming Saturday. Also on that Saturday, coming Saturday on the 25th, it is the first anniversary of opening of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, and we are celebrating that at the temple from 3:30 to 7 o'clock with the Maharana organization. So please join us. They have lined up a nice program. It starts with yoga, then we have some dance performance, some classical dance performance, and then they are going to do a little bit of kirtan and do a parikrama of the temple, followed by our arati, and there will be prasadam, and it's going to be Ekadashi prasadam. So if you follow Ekadashi, we are going to be serving Ekadashi prasadam on Saturday. So please join us. It was quite a big feat, as you know, to bring Ram Mandir back in Ayodhya. So we are going to go ahead and acknowledge that nice event that happened in India. Our morning sadhana program continues every day. We join via Zoom, and we also have YouTube. From around 4:30 onwards, we do the chanting. The actual time is from 5 to 6, but many devotees like to do their chanting, so they join early. Otherwise, at 5 o'clock, we do a little bit of reading that helps our chanting to be better chanting. And then we continue chanting till 5:40. And then from 5:40 to 6 o'clock, we have Srimad Bhagavatam reading. And we read a couple of verses and explain the meaning of that. So it's a nice way to start the day. Many of us cannot join at that time in the morning. So the recording will be on the YouTube. So you can just make a time that is suitable to you. And at that time every day, try and listen to that. So, you have a good start of the day. So that is every morning. And then we also have Srimad Bhagavatam classes at the temple in person, and also streamed via Facebook and Zoom. So you can join there if you cannot come in person. And that's from 7:35 to 8:15. That's every day, Monday through Sunday. And so is the morning sadhana program. It's a 7-day program. We have Vaishnavis reading Srimad Bhagavatam. They are just doing the summary of Srimad Bhagavatam, just like we are doing the summary of Bhagavad Gita. They are doing the summary of Srimad Bhagavatam because they completed reading that. And that's between 4:30 to 5:15. And that's from Monday through Friday. And our youth also read Srimad Bhagavatam via Zoom on Sundays between 2 and 3. Again, you see, we've placed a lot of emphasis on Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a wonderful reading, and it's really Krishna talking to us a lot about Lord Krishna's pastimes, and everything that you ever want to know is in Srimad Bhagavatam. We also have Srila Prabhupada's reading of books from Monday through Thursday via Facebook, and right now we are reading Queen Kunti's prayers. Very nice listening, so please try and join us with that. Again, it's on the Facebook, you'll be sitting there, and you can always go back and listen to it. We also read Chaitanya Charitamrita in the evening, so we go to bed after reading Chaitanya Charitamrita from 8:30 to 8:50, and that's via Zoom, and that's from Monday through Friday. We have also resumed our Bhakti Vriksha programs. They are informal programs on Friday or Saturday for 2 hours, usually from 7 to 9. And it's informal gathering where it's a family program. So there's a program for children as well as the adults. And we do a little bit of chanting, and then this prasadam is served. They don't go on for long, and it's not a class. It's informal discussion from our scriptures, between the few people that join us. So we don't have very big groups. We try to keep to about 25 to 30 people maximum. So it's a nice way to start the weekend, and also if you are shy to speak in a setting like this, you can speak your mind and learn, whatever questions you have in those settings. We are also going to resume our yoga classes soon. Please visit our Facebook page or web page for more information on that. Our Sunday school and Hindi classes have resumed after the holidays, and we offer puja and catering services at the temple. And we are going to go ahead and recite the prasadam prayers. We'll take blessings and then honor prasadam. When you take the blessings, there'll be just one line, and we'll have the children and the volunteers go first, and the seniors, and then the rest of us will join the line. Same with the prasadam line. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Svalpa Punyam Vatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate Sarira Vidya Jal Jodendriya Tahe Kal Jive Fele Vishya Sagare Tare Madhya Jihwati ताके जेता कंठ संसारे कृष्णा बोरा दोयमय कारी बार जिह्वा जाए स्वप्रसादन धीलो बाय से अन्नामृत पाओ राधा कृष्णा गुण गाओ प्रेमेड़ा को चैतन्य निताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीमद् भगवत प्रसादम की हरे कृष्ण.
Only V2 Hansini is not coming today. She's tired probably. That's okay. Let her be. Yeah.
She might be chanting.
She's a kid, That's okay. Hansini, she is still a kid. She sang a lot there, I saw. This one doesn't fit in my hands, it's so small, it's hard to okay, whatever, we'll do our best. Jai Ho, Jai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरि नाम संकीर्तन की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
Please